morning, friends. Today we're going to talk about Snappa. And Snappa is this really fantastic tool for non-designers like myself to use to create really easy graphics for blog posts, social media, anything that you can really think of. They can also be embedded in your emails or into infographics, you name it. So to give you an idea of how it works and how user-friendly it is today, I'm just going to go and create a simple graphic. One of the great things about I really like about Snappa is that it gives you all of these ready-made templates for the various different social media post image options. So as we all know that all of the different social media profiles are forever changing the dimensions of or the ideal dimensions of their images. So what Snappa does is really great. It gives you these out of the box, up-to-date templates that you can use that are pre-sized to fit whatever your intended location is, whether it be a Facebook post, a Facebook link, Twitter post, YouTube thumbnail, you name it. What they also give you the opportunity to create, and the headers are in here too, and that's super important, as well as display ads. You can also go in and you can create one from a custom size. So that's really great if, say, for example, there isn't a template. I used one the other day for a LinkedIn header, and for reasons I don't understand, the LinkedIn header image is not included among their templates, but I was able to easily just add those dimensions, click on create, and away I went. But for today's purposes, to show you how the different functionality of the platform, I'm just going to create a simple Facebook post. And when I click on that template, it takes me to another menu of pre-made templates that you can select and edit to customize however you choose. And basically it just gives you a jumping off point for creating your image. If something stands out to you, or maybe you're a little stumped about, where to start creatively, any one of those can be used and edited to suit your needs. But for today's purposes, I'm just going to create one from scratch. And by way of example, I'm just going to create a graphic for a blog post that is about a blog post SEO best practices. Or right here, right there. Maybe spell it right. And one thing I like to do with each of my graphics, especially if they're custom graphics, is to indicate at the end of the title some sort of organizational prompt to let me know what it's for. In this case, I'm going to put Facebook, so that I know that it's sized to be a Facebook post. Okay. And you can go ahead and add a background first. So basically you're layering up to build your graphic. And you notice when I clicked on background, it automatically populates a number of images. These are all, unless they say otherwise, these are all free for your use stock photography. And you can even go so far as to search, and it will give you the options under that category if they exist. And in this case, it's blogging. So let's see what they come up with. Usually they're kind of weird. So we have all these choices. You can also, just to click over here for a second, you can use some of your own images. I have a bunch in here saved from graphics I've done in the past. I don't know why that's doing that. It doesn't always select it like that. I think that's my computer. Alien list. So let's ignore the random selection here. How about we take this one? Boom. And there she is. Those are not my hands. So I'm going to use this as my background image. But if I didn't have this here, I could choose any one of these, or even just choose a color or a pattern too. Those are fine. Those are all options. And I want this image to just sort of be a back note. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Effects. This one has a color overlay of blue, but my brand colors are sort of a burnt orange and a gray. I'm going to play with those a little bit to see what I like. What I'm trying to do is sort of mute or tone down the image, the photograph, because I'm going to be putting text over top. And I don't really care for the gray. Let's try the orange. As you can see, as you slide this over, ooh, I really don't like that. You can try different options, but here's the gray. I think I'm going to stick with gray. And it just sort of fades it out a little bit, but you can still get the idea of what the image is. And I'm doing this because I'm going to be putting text over top of it. And as you can see below, there are a number of other effects that you can tweak to however you prefer. So you can get pretty detailed with your, your saturation, your hue, your brightness, your contrast. But in the interest of time, I'm just going to leave it right here. And this is going to be a header banner that I'm going to use. So I want to add text, and I want it to stand out on top of this image. So I'm going to first put a shape that I can use ultimately as a text box. I'm going to click on this. As you can see, there's lots of different shapes. I may end up moving this around depending on how it looks. And you can just sort of pull, drag and drop, essentially, however you like it. And I don't really care for that. See how it's a little off? And you just play with it a little bit. And, oops, it's still a little big. There. That's pretty close. All right. I'm going to remove the border anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So in this case, it has a solid black border. I don't want any border, so I'm going to click on None, and it removes it. But she's showing me the dotted line, so I can continue to edit that shape. I would like, currently there's no fill, but I really want my text to stand out. So I'm going to put solid fill, but black it's a bit harsh in this particular case. So I'm going to go with white. Okay. Let me see that again. And you can also change the opacity of that shape as well. This one's a little intense. So I just dialed it back a little bit. And I'm going to move it up because I want to leave room down here for my logo. So now I created this shape where I can add content or what have you. So now I want to add some text in that box. And there are 3 separate headings. And these are the default template, these are the default. It's a little early this morning. These are the default fonts, there's the word, fonts that are used for the different heading types. But as you will see, and I'm going to put mine as a subheading. Oops. No, I'm not. Take that back. I'm going to put mine as a heading because that's what it is. And in Snappa, auto populates that font as Archivo Black. But like everything else in Snappa, you have a bajillion choices. So you click down on it, boom, look at all of these. And this I absolutely love is that even in addition to having a myriad of choices of fonts, they also have the font names in the actual font. One of my biggest pet peeves is when I have to actually install the font to see what the heck it looks like. Not so in Snappa. It's pretty awesome. So you can scroll through and see what catches your eye. This is a great way, you know, there are different best practices in terms of, you know, matching up your font with your brand style. It's great. And you should do that whenever possible. But in this case, we're creating a demo here. So I'm going to choose something that's with Arima. I'm very much a minimalist, so I like things very clean and simple, but you know, this is really choose your own adventure. And again, here you can click right there to change the color of your text. You can edit the line spacing, the line height. You can really you can also change the size of the font. It's really up to you. And then to edit the text, you just click on it, backspace. By the way, this little green circle here, that is my Grammarly plugin. That's not part of Snappa. It's a Chrome extension I have added in for Grammarly, which is an amazing tool that keeps me on track with commas, which are the bane of my existence, and a whole host of other grammar related issues. So I'll talk about that at another day, but it's a great tool. So anyway, that's what that is. So now I'm just going to type in the title that I want on my image, which in this case will be SEO best practices for blogs. And I'm gonna, yeah, that's not the best title, by the way. I would probably do like, top 5 SEO best practices, because you know you can really go down a rabbit hole with SEO as a side note. But there we go, and you can see it's kind of bleeding into the image. No big deal. First of all, we can drag our text box a little bit to make it fit however we like, as narrow as we like, and you can just kind of eyeball it. And then you can also drag it to center. And you can change the justification within the text as well by over here. But I like to, since it's a title, I want to keep it centered. Top 5 SEO best practices for blog posts. And looking at this font again, it looks a little stark to me, so I'm just going to find one that's a little bit softer. So you can see how simple it is to, I like that one better. To go in and edit on the fly. Again, this is created for people who are not designers, who are not going to be going into, would otherwise be using InDesign or Photoshop or something similarly complicated. This is a real click and drag option for the non-designers like me. And then probably the last step I would do in this type of design is I would go in and I would add my logo to brand, you know, have my brand front and center. So click on graphics. And here you have all of these different options to add different icons. I think this is where you'd find your social media. Let's see. Yeah. So if you wanted to add a Facebook icon, LinkedIn, whatever, this is going to give you the option to do that. And it would go, whoops, what's going on? Oh, here. And then you'd resize it, etc. But not today. We're not doing that today. So going back to graphics. Again, here you could choose another image, stock image, but we're going to go to uploads and load up my logo. And because I wanted to just sort of be a back note, I'm going to load my transparent background logo ink. I grabbed the right one. Click on that, bring it over here. It's a little too big, so I'm just going to drag it down. Boom, and it goes right there. And there we are. Probably not my favorite graphic that I've ever created. I'm not so sure about that background image now, but at least it gives you the idea of how simple it is to use the tool and how easily you can go in and change elements on the fly, however you choose. So the last steps will be saving, and I already named my title, or excuse me, I already named my image. It's telling you the dimensions. I'm going to click on save. Where do I want to save it? I have different folders, client graphics for myself, so I'm going to put it in CC for me. And I'm going to download this so that I have it ready to install into my blog posts. So it gives you a number of different options. A high resolution JPEG or PNG would be for incorporating into something you would want to print. In this particular case, because it's going to be for a blog post, I'm going to click on Web Optimized JPEG. And what that means is it's going to give the highest resolution image. It's going to save the highest resolution at 300 dots per inch that you will hear all the time when people are requesting images from you, that 300 dots per inch, but it will be a small enough file size that it isn't going to negatively impact your load speed. So we do that, and there's my download, and that's about it. So that is creating a simple graphic in Snappa. I hope you find it